Hey, everybody out there. No. Dave, my hammy's feeling a little tight here, bud. I don't know if I can do the podcast.
That's all right. My Achilles and ankle are a little tight.
Oh, I mean, we should get a couple weeks off paid, right?
I would think so.
Because, that's how things work in the NFL. Oh, kids, hey, how you doing out there in podcast land? No, we're not going to bail on you.
No, we're not. We're making fun of these little pansified NFL players.
Yes, injury report is already through 2 weeks ridiculously long, especially when it comes to star players. So number one, if you play fantasy football, good luck piecing a team together for week 3. And of course, by the way, if I didn't mention it, this is Sports Frenzy 2.0, your favorite politically incorrect sports commentary podcast. Along with me, as always, my brother from another mother, the man with the plan. The man who alongside me should be running everything. The conquistador, Dave Height.
And that is the maestro, Kevin Crane, our fearless leader through this incorrect jaunt.
Yeah, and even though I told you before we started that I was calm this week, I did not set up the program angry. Once the kids get us on the weekend edition, there might be a little bit of vitriol.
Then all bets are off.
I'm a little bit upset with a few people in the world of celebrities.
And it's not even Festivus.
No. But I got to air some grievances. But that's on the weekend edition. And if you don't listen to the weekend edition every Saturday morning, shame on you.
It's your Saturday morning hangover cure.
We discuss the best in pop culture and the worst, which we will do this weekend.
In the politically incorrect way that made this sports commentary famous.
30 years. 30 years, kids. And yes, it's kind of us just getting a chance to vent. But we do it so well and so eloquently. How could you not love us?
Harumph.
And what do we always start off with here in the fall, Dave?
Oh, baby, it's football season, so the NFL kicks off.
All right, let's look at some headlines. Then we will dive into last week's games and then, of course, our picks for NFL Week 3. Probably the biggest news outside of injuries is that the Panthers have benched last year's number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young, in favor of the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton.
You had to know this was coming. And the Panthers are just a shit show organization. So bad.
Yeah, Tepper's already far and wide being ridiculed as the worst owner in the NFL. I mean, lucky for him, Dan Snyder's gone now.
Yeah, no kidding. They would have been 1A, 1B.
But they just came out here within a couple hours as we record here Wednesday night, September the 18th. This, of course, will drop early Thursday morning the 19th. The Panthers have come out and said they have no intention of trading Bryce Young. So you're just going to destroy his confidence completely and totally.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then you won't get anything for him. Ask the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, how'd that work out with Justin Fields?
Mm-hmm. The only good thing about that is it looks like he might hit that target mark in terms of snaps and move up that pick from a 6th to a 4th.
Yeah. And the way Russell Wilson's nursing that hamstring, or do the Steelers realize Wilson is just bad and Fields is their best option?
Yeah, but it's not like Justin Fields is lighting the world on fire.
No,
with that
but
offense
he's
either.
managing right now.
Well, he's younger. He's more mobile. You gotta believe that Russell Wilson's confidence is kind of shot by now. After the bad years in Denver, I'm sure Sean Payton berated him once or twice.
That's almost a guarantee.
But then we've got the injuries.
God, and they are ugly
now,
injuries.
At the last minute, and I'm not kidding you, at the last minute before the 1 o'clock kickoff for week 2, we found out A.J. Brown, the number 1 wide receiver for the Eagles, was not going to play Monday night. He looks like he's going to miss at least 1 more week.
Yep.
And then within an hour of kickoff, the Jaguars announced Evan Ingram had a hamstring issue in pregame warmups. He got pulled from the lineup at the last second, screwing over a lot of fantasy football owners.
Yes.
So that's just the beginning. Then you move on to what happened in the games.
And then the shit got real quick, starting Thursday night. Bills down in Miami taking on the Dolphins. Tua running, lowers his head into Damar Hamlin, crunches the neck, goes down. You can tell he's out. Arm stiffened, hand made the fist, out with a concussion, now on IR, gone for at least 4 weeks, and the protocols he has to pass. Speculation now, does he come back from this?
I have heard that he does want to.
Three major concussions.
Diagnosed, yes, absolutely right.
Major diagnosed in 2 years.
Right. There's some people saying there's a lot more on the table but we're going with the official diagnosed 3 concussions.
And these were not just your, shake it off after a week. These are multiple weeks.
Could you not say shake it off? That reminds me of Taylor Swift. I hate Tay-Tay. Okay? I just can't.
Okay, President.
Listen, they're eating the cats, Dave. They're eating the dogs. All right?
My God.
Anyway, we're not
my
going down
brain
that
hurts.
road. Nah, not yet. That's the weekend edition.
Now we have a concept of a discussion.
Now, before he got the concussion, steering things back to Tua,
He was awful.
terrible.
He
Yep.
flat sucked ass.
3 interceptions, including a pick 6.
So bad.
And the Bills, who a lot of people were writing off, saying, well, they had too many guys leave, too many injuries.
No, they've
look
actually
pretty
shored
good.
up and played very well as a team.
Yep, they are 2-0 as they take down the Dolphins, beat them down 31-10.
Bad beat down.
Sorry, I didn't mean to beat down, and because Tua's concussed. I don't
Whatever.
care. Now, here's an interesting follow-up. Actually, I've got 2 of them for Tua. Number 1, does he come back if, of course, passes the protocols, gets cleared by the physicians? Does he wear one of those Guardian caps? One of those padded shells that they wear now in practice?
Potentially. But if he keeps doing hits like that, the jarring stuff in that, it's not going to cushion that much.
No, because he was, like you said, he went right into Damar Hamlin, jammed his neck basically back into his body.
Yeah. He's lucky he didn't get taken off on a stretcher with a neck brace.
Yep, and then, of course, being the heartless bastards that we are, we have to look at the business side of this. And will this possibly, we don't know, we're weeks away from a final decision. For this year, probably, yes. The Dolphins are probably done.
Oh, yeah.
They would have to pull off a mammoth trade,
Yeah.
and it'd have to be soon.
They just signed Huntley to back up Skylar Thompson.
Right.
So I don't know what is going on.
But
It's a lost season.
But down the road, what about Tua? What about his life? What about his decision? And yes, the cold, calculating, brutal truth of, does he deserve? He gets his $42 million this year, guaranteed, no matter what.
Right.
Because he just signed his new deal. But that leaves about what, approximately $125 million guaranteed left. Does he deserve to get that? Now here's the tricky part. If he's cleared to play but decides to retire, he technically forfeits that money.
Yes, he does.
Now, if he is not cleared to come back, then the Dolphins are on the hook for all of that money. Because they did not
Stupidly
put in any kind of a guarantee for concussions.
Yeah, that should have been first and foremost was a concussion clause.
You got to wonder if
And if
Tua
Tua
and his-
balked on that, then why did you sign him to the deal?
yeah,
You didn't have to.
I can't believe the Dolphins didn't bring that up and didn't have that on the table, and then all I can think is Tua and his agent played hardball and the Dolphins caved.
And and they shouldn't have, because they didn't need to sign him this year.
No, they didn't have to. Absolutely not.
There was no reason to sign him at this point.
Nope.
He has done nothing to have earned that kind of money.
Yeah, they could have done like the Cowboys did with Dak Prescott and wait till the last minute in that final year
Yep.
and then make a decision.
And then even Prescott got way the hell overpaid.
And that seems to be what these teams are worried about, is that the longer you wait, the market price keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah. Who do you have to blame but yourselves?
Yeah, because if they all take a stand, then the players' union will have a hissy fit and say collusion, collusion, collusion.
But you still shouldn't be overpaying either.
I hate unions. I
crap
fucking
is
hate unions.
done.
We'll get to baseball and the latest move by their asinine players' union in a little bit here. Other injuries, of course, we knew about Christian McCaffrey. He is now officially on IR.
Yep.
With the calf and the Achilles. Joined now by his fellow teammate Deebo Samuel, who has a calf issue.
Gee, like we didn't see that coming.
Yeah, they're both China dolls. They are both China dolls. Now, I thought I'd heard that George Kittle got hurt too, but I have not heard anything in terms of that being a long-term or lasting injury.
No.
Then, of course, Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert has an ankle issue, but he will work through it because I'm sure Jim Harbaugh would rip him to shreds behind the scenes if he didn't.
Yeah.
If he played this little pansy wussy game.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Get out there! Of course, for you, devastating news for the Chiefs.
Fantasy football front, Isaiah Pacheco, broken leg. Ouch.
6 to 8 weeks. Like you mentioned. Good thing you get that IR spot.
Yep.
on the roster.
Yeah, well, I could probably use 2 because we don't know what's going to happen now with Joe Mixon, who has an ankle injury because during the Bears game he was tackled with the hip drop and Bears player landed on his ankle. Not called. I saw the replay. It should have been called.
He has a good point. Now, I didn't see the replay, but I've seen other instances in both college and pro here in the last few weeks where they are not enforcing it.
No, and they need to because it's a horrific tackle with all the weight of the defender coming down on the back of the legs of the runners and receivers. You can't have it. It needs to be penalized and enforced.
Yeah, and you wonder if this isn't some little behind-the-scenes conspiracy that the refs are doing, just like they did years ago.
With the pass interference.
Yeah, when we're going to review pass interference and the referees never overturned any pass interference calls. So they said after 1 year, okay, we won't do it anymore.
Yeah. No, the referees need to pull their heads out of their asses and call the game the way it's supposed to be called.
Then we've got Jets defensive end Jermaine Johnson, Achilles, done for the season. Lots of Achilles injuries here over the last few years. Yeah. I mean, a lot.
More than you ever heard of before.
Yeah. At least now.
In the previous 40 years, I can only think of one Achilles injury, and that was Dan Marino.
I was going to say Marino. I can think of 2. It was Marino, and then it was Vinny Testaverde.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So, seriously, come on.
Yep. And then the Rams, my God, are the Rams just 2 weeks in, the most decimated team I've ever seen when it comes to injuries. Coming into a season supposedly completely healthy.
Yeah. Now Cooper Kupp, ankle,
yep.
Done.
He's going to be out for a while. So they are down both of their starting wideouts because Puka Nacua is going to be out multiple weeks with the knee issue. They've got issues on the offensive line. the Rams could be looking at the same thing the Dolphins are, a lost season.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be hard for them with those injuries. That is a very tough division now that we have seen what the Cardinals can be if they're gelling. And Seattle's 2-0. And you know the 49ers are going to be there at the end.
Yeah. Because you've got McCaffrey and Samuel coming back at some point, maybe.
Right. Right. And I still think, despite the loss, and we'll get to that in a second, despite the loss here in week 2 to the Vikings, they've got guys who can fill in. Jordan Mason is looking fine as a replacement for McCaffrey. Juwan Jennings, I think it is, will step in.
Yeah.
Alongside Ayuk. And if Kittle is okay, then they're fine.
They will be able to get
They'll be
through.
Fine. Now, in terms of the other teams that we follow, our Bears. Now, we didn't get to watch it. We were previously occupied with some rock and roll.
Yes, we were at a concert. We got to listen to the abysmal fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Where the Bears' offensive line was completely non-existent.
Yeah, and you're now all of the fears of Bears fans, including us, starting to percolate again.
Here we go again.
We're going to destroy another quarterback because of the front office, because they didn't know what they were doing. They thought, oh, let's just stack the offense with all these weapons.
Yeah.
What about the offensive line that is needed to block for the quarterback and for the running backs? The weapons don't do you jack shit if there's no blocking.
If your quarterback is running for his life and getting absolutely obliterated.
And DeAndre Swift can't do anything. You know, the running game is non-existent because the line sucks. Run blocking, pass blocking, doesn't matter.
They can't do anything.
And there's not enough time for Caleb Williams to find DJ Moore.
He's rushed. He can't get set.
Yep, and DJ Moore, I guess. Again, I didn't watch the game. Of course, we were gone. I didn't watch the replay. But I heard that he is getting called out for bad body language, as he is very frustrated now. Who is he frustrated with?
Right. Is it with Williams or is it with the inept blocking?
Yeah.
Or is it just horrible play calling?
It's probably a little bit of everything. It's probably a little bit of everything. Caleb Williams sacked 7 times. 7 times. And he got the hell beat out of him.
And hit twice as many.
And he got the hell beat out of him in week 1 by the Titans, too.
Yeah. There's no protection.
And I have told you this. I can't remember if I said it on the air. I think I did. If we botch this, if we can't make Caleb Williams the long-term answer at quarterback, then fuck the Bears. Seriously.
Yeah.
We'll never have a quarterback until the McCaskies sell the goddamn team. Because there's got to be something to the fact that this regime, this organization, whoever they're bringing in as coaches and as GMs, can't get it right. There's no excuse for this team never being able to create, to develop a franchise quarterback after all these years. Everybody jokes, Sid Luckman.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
It's sad but true.
Sid Luckman was the last great Bears quarterback. I mean, my God, Jay Cutler. I look back fondly now at his days as a Bears quarterback. Because at least they were competitive. You know?
Yeah. It's just a god-awful situation.
But again, the defense keeps them in the game. So it was closer than it probably was on the field. 19-13, the Texans win down in Houston. So the Bears drop to 1-1. And honestly, they're lucky to be 1-1. Ungodly, unbelievably lucky to be 1-1.
Yeah, that defense won the first game.
Yep. And then, of course, my Buccaneers, somehow, some way, I cannot believe it. I never would have said they were going to start 2-0. But goddamn if they didn't. They started 2-0. They beat the Lions 20-16, despite the fact that Aiden Hutchinson, he's a man. That
guy is an unbelievable talent.
He's probably already got the early jump on Defensive Player of the Year. It's either him or T.J. Watt in Pittsburgh. Aiden Hutchinson had 4.5 sacks and a forced fumble and it still somehow the Buccaneers won.
Yeah,
Now, Dan
go figure.
Campbell, I think, we didn't get to watch the game here in our area.
No, but by accounts, Campbell was crying during the press conference, taking a blame for the loss.
So yeah, he mismanaged the clock.
Mismanaged clock. Yeah, but he can only take the blame so far. The players have not shown up. They did not perform in that game.
No, and then again, you had Amon-Ra St. Brown getting dinged up. Sam Laporta has not done anything. Now, I don't know. Now, Ben Johnson has been there for years as the offensive coordinator. He didn't all of a sudden forget how to coach the offense.
Yeah, so what gives?
They're not using Sam Laporta. The running game's been solid, but it's not. The team is not as dynamic as they were last year when they got to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah,
they're just not.
There's something off with them big time.
Absolutely. Oh, and by the way, a little fun fact. I know we're going to pick the Colts and the Bears here in a little bit. Now, I'm not taking credit for this. My research consists of poaching, for the most part, from other shows and other radio programs.
Because we don't have
the time.
We don't get paid to sit around and analyze every single game.
Yep. So I did poach this. I believe this was from Breakfast Ball with Carton, Schlereth, and Perkins. The combined age of the two quarterbacks in the Colts-Bears game this coming Sunday will be 44.
1 year older than Aaron Rodgers?
Going to college. The combined age of the quarterbacks in the big matchup between Utah and Oklahoma State, 49.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
The quarterbacks in a college game, a top 20 matchup, nonetheless. 49 years old, and you've got two young quarterbacks facing off in the NFL. Their combined age, 44.
Wow. There you go.
There you go, with COVID and redshirting and the transfer portal, and that's what you get. All right, so looking back at some of the other games from last week, how about those New Orleans Saints? My God.
Who dat?
My God. What is going on with that team? Alvin Kamara, 4 touchdowns.
That is just insane.
They go into Dallas, going to Arlington, and beat the Dallas Cowboys 44-19.
Just an old-fashioned ass-kicking. And that's 2 weeks in a row the Saints have destroyed teams.
Right, now the first week they kind of got a little bit of a pass because it was the Panthers. Now what are you going to say?
Yeah.
They beat up America's team.
To hate.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Colts and Packers, we listened to that one on the radio going down to our concert.
My God, the Colts are inept. They're more inept than the Bears, I think.
There's no way, no excuse for them to not beat the Packers with Malik Willis at quarterback. Except for the fact that Anthony Richardson, now you got to keep in mind, he's still a rookie technically. I know he's in his second year, but because of injuries, he's only playing in his 7th or 8th game.
Yeah.
So he's still learning. But he had brutal turnovers. So the Packers at Lambeau beat the Colts 16-10. Because basically all it was handoff to Josh Jacobs, handoff to Josh Jacobs, handoff to Josh Jacobs.
Yep, pretty much that was all they needed to do, and the Colts couldn't get out of their own way on offense.
Nope. Even though, as we were listening to it, it sounded like they should have been riding the hot hand with their running back. And they pulled him towards the end of the game.
He sat the fourth quarter.
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor sat the fourth quarter. The Packers were not able to stop him. But yet, they tried to rely on Richardson's arm, which was the big mistake.
Yep.
And there was no injury designation on Taylor.
No.
So what the hell is going on? Did he say something to piss off the coach? Perhaps. But it was just absolutely stupid.
Now, I'm not aware of a fumble. Usually that's the reason why they will bench a player is because of a fumble, especially obviously a running back.
Yeah, but usually he's been around long enough to have earned the pass to continue going.
Yeah, he just signed a big deal last year.
So
You know?
it made 0 sense.
No. So we'll see what happens here this weekend with the Colts and the Bears. I'm going to say this right now before we get to the game. Whoever loses this game, the head coach, hot seat. Could be
Automatic.
number one hot seat in the NFL. Because Dennis Allen now all of a sudden, he's free and clear with the Saints.
Yeah, we thought, he's got the
I thought he was going to be the
most
first one.
biggest issues. No, he's
And
got
a lot
that
of
team
people,
clicking right
a lot
now.
of people saying it's Clint Kubiak coming in as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, it's looking that way.
Yep. Another shocker. The Vikings.
How the hell are the Vikings 2-0
The Vikings up
with
in
Sam Damn Darnold?
23-17. They beat the 49ers.
Justin Jefferson gets dinged up in that game too.
Yep. Supposedly he's going to be okay, but who knows? Because again, this year, this is how it's been going. You've got all these different wide. CD Lamb, just for some strange reason, just hit the injury report today.
Yeah, so did Nico Collins.
Yeah. And you and I are playing each other in our fantasy league this week.
And two of our big receivers gone.
Yeah, all our receivers are dinged up. It's just awful. But yeah, Sam Darnold, another reclamation project like Baker Mayfield.
Maybe the 4th time's the charm, 5th time.
Well, that's why I don't think other teams are going to give up on Bryce Young. I don't think the Panthers obviously are yet, even though they are treating him like garbage and doing the absolute wrong thing.
Well, he was
sitting him, starting him, sitting him, starting him.
He was put in a situation to fail to begin with.
Yeah, he's already on his second head coach in 2 years. I mean, we're not counting interim coaches, obviously. Right. But, yeah, but Sam Darnold looks like, hey.
Maybe he can be serviceable.
Get him to the playoffs, and that's going to get him a decent contract.
Yep, he's going to stick around for a little bit.
Yep, and you got to remember the Vikings are doing it without T.J. Hawkinson, their tight end. Might not be back until late in the season.
Yeah.
Because of his devastating injury in 2023.
From a hip drop tackle.
And then Jordan Addison, their number 2 receiver, has been dinged up. All right, Seahawks beat the Patriots in overtime. Not really a lot to talk about there. The Patriots are better than I thought they were going to be. I will say that.
Yes, I got to give them credit.
A lot of people are saying they're playing football like it's 1952 again. But hey, that's all right.
But if that's the personnel they have,
yeah.
They are playing to their strengths. Yeah, and that's what you have to do.
They've got 2 viable running backs now with Ramondre Stevenson, and because they're just running him to death, now they're giving more carries to Antonio Gibson, and he just ran for 100 yards as the number 2 back in this game against Seattle.
Yeah, so use what you have to its most effectiveness.
But Seattle does win in Foxborough 23-20 in overtime. Geno Smith, another reclamation project at quarterback.
Yep.
Ugly game. Browns and Jaguars down in Jayville. Another guy who's going to be on the hot seat real quick is Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
18-13, the Browns beat the Jags.
And we question why, in God's name, another big contract given to Trevor Lawrence when it wasn't needed.
Or warranted.
They had time.
Or warranted.
And he deserves none of that money.
No. Nope.
He has probably been the worst of that draft class.
Yep. So now they are in a must-win situation. Otherwise, their head coach is going to be on the hot seat. And I'll tell you one thing. Yes, I'm already thinking ahead to potential coaches for the Bears next year. I think Kevin Stefanski is one hell of a head coach for the Browns.
Yeah.
Given what he's had to go through the last couple of years, having to deal with Deshaun Watson. Last year, he had to shuffle through how many different quarterbacks?
How many running backs?
Yeah, because Nick Chubb went down. Yeah. And he still wins. He still figures out a way to win.
Yeah.
He's a damn good head coach. So I'm hoping Cleveland will fire him and we can get him. Now, I told you when we were listening to the debacle, the aftermath of the Texans-Bears game, I would love it if he would come to Chicago, which he won't, because he wants to be somewhere where the weather's nice, I'm sure. But I think Pete Carroll would be the perfect guy for this team.
Carroll would be really solid.
Loosen him up. He's got the connection, USC connection with Caleb.
Yeah.
But I don't think he would be miserable in November and December in Chicago.
He doesn't. He's too old to want to deal with that weather anymore.
Yep. And good call on your part. Great call on your part. They let us down in week 1, but you stuck with them in week 2.
Yep, the Cardinals absolutely destroyed the Rams 41-10. The Cardinals look like they are starting to finally gel this week, putting every phase of the game together at home.
Yeah, now, of course, we mentioned the Rams are beat up.
They are. But still.
You got to remember, the Cardinals in Buffalo took the Bills down to the wire. And now at week 2 here with the Rams, don't have to worry about Marvin Harrison Jr. anymore. He had a monster game in week 2.
Yeah.
And I think what we're seeing here, I see parallels between two teams that we didn't expect a lot from, who are all of a sudden looking very, very good. Saints, Cardinals in the NFC. They are just taking the attitude, I think, because a lot of people look at their defenses and go, there's nothing much here. They're just going to outscore you. They're going to put up 40 a game and say, all right, you put up 40 and beat us.
Yeah, let's go.
Yep, I think they're just going to they're going to play football pinball. And they're just going to go ding, 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 point, 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 point.
They're going to go the old Mike Leach and the Lane Kiffin.
Yep.
And Lincoln Riley.
Yep, whoever gets the ball last wins.
Yep.
Steelers beat the Broncos. Oh, ugly game.
Bad. 13-6.
Mike Tomlin still knows how to win, but you can't. It's great, his streak. 500 or better.
Yeah.
Getting in the playoffs most years.
Come on.
But at some point, you got to say, this is not the way to win a championship. It's all nice and pretty and good that you got all these records to show everybody about how you're 500 or better every year, but you can't take it to the next level anymore.
No, you guys are mired in mediocrity right now. That also goes to the front office.
Yeah, well, they did upgrade the defense. The defense, just like the Bears.
Defense is fine.
Steelers are going to have to rely on this defense to win games.
Why did you not keep Mason Rudolph? Why did you shell out the trade and the money for Russell Wilson? All Mason Rudolph did for that organization was win when he started.
And that could be another guy here in another year or two that we see starting somewhere and actually doing well. The next second coming of Gardner Minshew. And, of course, we don't have that game. We did not pick it. But the Raiders beat the Ravens to send the Ravens to 0-2.
Yeah.
And then we had the big... We should have known it was going to be close, even though everybody was looking at the injuries with the Bengals and they don't look right. And then the Chiefs are the Chiefs. But the Bengals play the Chiefs tough every single time. 26-25.
Last second field goal for the Chiefs.
Yep. And I heard somebody say, I guess the Chiefs aren't too worried about Harrison Butker's politics right now, are they?
Yeah, no, they are not.
But yeah, the Chiefs go to 2-0, but there are flaws and there are issues there. And then, of course, Monday night. What a game Monday night to wrap things up on our recap of Week 2. Wow. The Eagles had the game in their grasp to go 2-0, and Saquon Barkley could not catch a simple screen pass that would have run the clock out. Instead, he drops a fourth down pass. Now, they didn't have to go for it.
No, they didn't.
They could have kicked a field goal and played defense, but instead...
They should have kicked the field goal and played defense.
Yep, because Kirk Cousins finally shakes off the rust. drives the Falcons down impeccably. Darnell Mooney, our old buddy from the Bears, having a good game.
Really good game.
Some big catches for him. The Falcons, Drake London, of course, finally shows up, gets a touchdown catch at the end. We'll talk more about him later. But the Falcons come back, save their season, get to 1-1, 22-21 in Philadelphia.
And again, this is another time that the Eagles had a win late and blew it. You've changed personnel. You've changed your coordinators. You've changed your assistant coaches. What's the one constant for this losing culture now?
Well,
Your head coach.
I was going to say, I'm not blaming Jalen Hurts.
No, it's Sirianni.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get, you and I have talked about this all the time. The analytics say go for it on 4th and 2 if you're at midfield in the second quarter, which sometimes is just insane to me. Just punt the damn ball if you've got any kind of a defense.
Yeah.
But a lot of these coaches now, and Sirianni's right up there at the top.
Let's go.
Oh, I'm a man. I got big balls. Let's show this team what we can do.
You don't go for it on 4th down unless you are inside the opponent's 35.
Sometimes you play the clock game, force the other team to compensate.
Yep. And
No, we're going to go for the kill shot. Well,
guess
when
what?
you miss, guess what? Your opponent's going to come back
and kill you.
Yep. So I actually was very, very happy for Kirk Cousins because he got ripped apart in week 1. But again, he hasn't played in forever because of his Achilles injury.
They kept him out of preseason completely. So that's the first game action he's had in game 1.
Yes, so he looked rusty.
As he should have.
Against one of the best defenses in the league. But now I'm really curious about this game we're going to be picking here Sunday night. As we've got 8 games on our slate. We don't pick every game. We try to pick the closest ones. So Sunday, September the 22nd, all 8 of our games take place. Not Thursday night game, not the 2 Monday night games. We start off with the Packers going down to a revenge game for Malik Willis.
Right.
Malik Willis in a revenge game against Mayo Boy.
God.
I can't believe I'm doing it, but I have been very, very impressed with the Titans' defense. Not just because they beat up on the Bears, because the Bears, we know, woeful offensive line, but they had a shot at beating the Jets. You know, if Mayo Boy didn't once again shit the bed. Now, is he going to do it 3 weeks in a row?
It's Will Levis. Yes, he will.
The only thing that worries me is now I'm getting reports that Jordan Love is starting to practice on a limited basis.
Yeah, he's now been upgraded to questionable.
If Jordan Love plays, then I'm screwed. I'll lose this game. But I'm telling you, if Malik Willis plays, the Titans' defense is much better than the Colts' defense. And they'll be at home. I'm telling you, Malik Willis.
It's one more week for Willis to get comfortable.
Oh, come on, get comfortable. He's trash.
He is.
He is trash. He's like Zach Wilson.
Hand the ball off, hand the ball off, hand the ball off.
I will hold out hope for a guy like Bryce Young. There is no hope for Malik Willis.
Hope for Malik.
No. So this all comes down to, is Jordan Love actually going to get back on the field this soon? If he does, then yes, the Packers should win. But if he sits out another week, which I think would be
the smart thing, we'll see. But you and Sam taking the Titans. The rest of us have no faith in Will Levis.
But
we're going with the Titans
Packers. Should do the same thing. Run the ball.
They should, but they won't.
Pollard and Spears.
They won't. They're going to
then bring Calvin Ridley around on a sweep once in a while.
They're going to try and get cute.
We'll see. I just don't like... The Colts lost that game at Lambeau. The Packers did not win it. The Packers tried to give it away. A better team would have been able to take that game away from Green Bay.
And are the Titans really a better team?
Again, it depends on if we're talking Malik Willis or Jordan Love.
We'll see.
And I'm going to be a hypocrite now.
Now, here we go.
I get to be a hypocrite. Bears at the Colts.
Colts lost their big defensive player in Buckner.
I know. But there's just something. This is where I'm going to play the numbers game. And I'm going to say, I can't see the Colts going 0-3. I just can't.
They do it all the time.
The Bears suck, Dave. We have to come to the realization.
The Bears' defense can win this game.
I think Anthony Richardson will play better. Not great, but better.
The Bears' defense will make him question why he's there.
This is going to be ugly. This is going to be like a 10-7 game. And that's assuming somebody can score a touchdown. It's probably going to be the defenses.
Yeah.
I am taking the Colts. I'm taking the Colts.
Sam and Aaron are with you. The rest of us think the Bears will get something going.
And this is another game. Another game where the loser, head coach,
on the
hot seat. Shane Steichen, if they go 0-3 in his second year, after missing the playoffs last year, yeah, the Colts like to show patience. Irsay, he's too busy hitting the bong. But sorry, I know he's in recovery. Okay, that was a low blow. But they're more patient than other teams with the head coach. So Steichen might get another year, even if this
they
turns
probably
out to be a
give him
disaster.
a pass because of Richardson being out most of last season.
Yeah, now they can say, like you said, with Buckner out on the defense, now we got no defense.
So, but really, is he that big a piece? Probably is, unfortunately for them.
He probably is against any other team but the Chicago Bears. Because they could suit you and I up and we'd both get a sack apiece on Caleb the way things are going.
Yeah.
All right, this one is going to be a game that I think at the beginning of the season we wouldn't have thought this was going to be a very crucial game early on. The 2-0 Houston Texans go up to Minneapolis to take on, the 2-0 Minnesota Vikings. And the Texans have looked a little shaky, and they've got injuries.
They've got a few little issues to deal with. But if they blitz Darnold like they did Williams, Darnold is not going to perform.
Yeah, and I love DeMeco Ryans, and he is a genius when it comes to defense, obviously. But they have not looked as good. Again, you play the Bears, it's very deceptive.
It's
deceptive. They did not play well against the Colts week 1. That was a close game.
Closer than it should have been.
Right. So I'm not sure if the Texans are all the way where they're supposed to be yet in terms of one of the top 3 teams.
These first couple weeks are the full preseason.
Right. Because everybody expects them to be one of the top 3 teams in the AFC. I don't see that yet. But they've got plenty of time. They're 2-0. That's all that matters.
Yep.
And I think they will go into Minneapolis and beat the Vikings.
Yep. You, me, Sam, and Aaron taking the Texans. Everyone else going with the Vikings.
Yeah. Bill, Jen,
Intriguing.
Nick, and Doug. So we're split 4-4.
Yep. All right. Here we go.
And this is where we're going to find out who's an Eagles hater and who still believes in the sheer talent on that roster. And who thinks the Saints are somehow, someway, a complete and total fallacy. I don't believe in the New Orleans Saints. I just don't.
I can't believe in the Eagles.
The Eagles are better in almost every position.
They are, but they have
field.
the worst head coach right now.
Oh, Dennis Allen is all of a sudden a genius?
He's got better coordinators around him right now. Sirianni's got that team in a spiral
the Eagles are in
blowing
desperation mode after. And let's just call last Monday's game what it was. Saquon Barkley dropped a pass. It's on him. If he executes the play the way it's supposed to be done.
And if that offense is so great, why did they only have that few points?
I think you're laying the blame too much on Sirianni.
Where was everything else?
So here we go, kids. It's Nick and I. Nick and I are taking the Eagles. Everybody else is all on the Mardi Gras bandwagon. Woo! Who day? Who dat? Give me some beads. Woo! Show me my boobies, my titties. Yay! There is no way this sustains itself with the New Orleans Saints. No way in hell. And this is where it ends.
Maybe, maybe not.
They come crashing back down to reality this week.
We'll see where we wind up.
If the
I just
Eagles
don't
lose,
think the Eagles.
if the Eagles lose,
It's
Nick
getting in their head
Sirianni will
at this
not
point.
be allowed back in the city. Philly fans will be out to get him.
There's
If they
a pattern.
drop the 1 and 2.
There
If they
is a
drop the 1 and
pattern
2.
coming. Look at their record over the last 10 games. What are they, 2-8?
I know. But they're just so talented.
Talent does not always overcome. We know this.
Speaking of which, the next game, this is all about coaches. This is nothing to do with talent.
No. Chargers at the Steelers. Oof. To me, this is going to come down to Justin Herbert being the difference maker in this game.
But who's he throwing the ball to? And you really believe J.K. Dobbins is all of a sudden one of the best running backs in the league?
Not necessarily.
Against one of the, if not the best defenses?
You got two solid defenses. This is
going to be another one like...
This is a Harbaugh statement game.
This is going to be a 9-6 game is what this is going to be.
Yeah.
I could see both teams getting 4 or 5 sacks.
Easy.
I just think there's going to be a crucial mistake made by the Chargers. The Steelers' defense capitalizes.
Fields is due for one of his turnovers that changes the game.
I think the coaching matchup is a wash.
Yeah. That's it. It's going to come down to quarterback play.
All right, so we've got 5 picks for the Steelers. That would be me, Bill, Jen, Nick, and Aaron. Chargers for Dave, and Sam, and Doug. All right, another massive matchup that I think, again, 2 weeks ago we would have thought teams playing for their division titles, you know, early, maybe
Could be
possible.
a solid game.
Super Bowl preview.
Potential, maybe.
We've got the 0-2 Ravens at Arlington to play the 1-1 Cowboys who just got spanked by the Saints. There's no way, I'm doing the numbers again, no way in hell the Ravens go 0-3. I believe the Cowboys go 1-2 with the egomaniac owner and the way he's, I know what I'm doing with the roster. I'm a genius. I'm so smart. But who'd you pick?
I'm taking the Cowboys. They have got to show up after laying that turd at home.
Nope.
The players are going to stand up.
I would actually bet on this game if I was a betting man.
This has got to be it for McCarthy.
Yeah, if he loses, he's another one that gets on the hot seat because we can get Dion next year. Ooh.
I wouldn't count on that.
So Ravens for me, for Sam, for Doug and for Aaron, Cowboys for Dave, for Bill, for Jen, and for Nick. So we're split.
Split again.
Yep, split. Another bandwagon that Dave is on.
I'm riding this team. They're hot right now, especially at home. We have the Lions at the Cardinals. I am taking the Cardinals along with Aaron. So
it's going to be a good game.
This is going to be a hell of a game. Can the Lions correct their foibles from last week
They're going to
And-
have to be able to put up some points.
Yeah, they are, and we haven't seen them to this point being able to.
No, their
put up
defense is
points.
decent enough where I don't think they're letting up 41 like the Rams did.
No, but they're going to give up at least 30.
Okay, if you say so. I was going to say more like 27, but
In the realm.
yep. Yep, so you and Aaron riding the Cardinals, the rest of us, the sane people on the panel, taking the Lions.
The insane people, yes.
If you haven't figured it out by now, doing the math, all 8 picks in this week,
Yes.
which is always nice. Now, the last game Sunday night, I think the complexion of this game has changed based on the result from Monday night. Now the Falcons have life. Now Kirk Cousins actually looks like Kirk Cousins. The Chiefs are banged up. And the Chiefs are going to lose some games at some point.
But none of us think it's going to be this week.
It's going to be a good
It's
game.
going to be a hell of a game. We have seen nothing in the first couple games from Mr. Taylor Swift.
No.
Kelsey has been non-existent.
Very, very few of the tight ends in the league have done much of anything.
With Pacheco out, they're going to have to rely on that little short passing game to Kelsey.
I agree. I do. I think
This is the week that Kelsey shows up. They have to have him here.
I agree. It's going to be him. It's going to be Rice.
Because they don't have the running backs that they can trust.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be big game for Rice, big game for Kelsey. Because that's all they got right now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. So there are our picks, kids, for week 3. That'll do it for the NFL. That means we move on to college football. Woo! All right, so week 3 in college football, not exactly the most exciting week. Not really a lot of shifting and moving, except at the top of the AP rankings. Because Georgia struggled against Kentucky.
That was a knockdown dragout. Kentucky played a phenomenal game.
But that vaults Texas up, even despite the fact that their starting quarterback, the de facto Heisman favorite, Quinn Ewers, got hurt. And, of course, the wunderkind, Arch Manning, came in, and they didn't miss a beat.
No, he just kept that team rolling right along.
So now Texas is now the new number 1 in the AP poll. But who's the favorite to win the Heisman now? I wonder who that would be.
Travis Hunter.
Shut up, Dave! That is not true.
Why is he not getting any consideration
it is.
as a two-way player?
It is a travesty. It is.
I mean, he excels as a wide receiver, and he has been fantastic as a corner.
Yeah, I agree. It's a travesty because he wasn't even
He's
listed.
getting no mention.
He wasn't even listed in the top 10 of the current Heisman favorites.
No, and I hate agreeing with Dion about anything, but this is a shame. This kid plays his ass off the entire game, both sides of the ball, and he's getting no recognition.
Yeah, and somebody else said very astutely, he's basically the Shohei Ohtani of college football.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And Ohtani gets everything heaped upon him, award upon award, but Hunter gets no recognition for what he does.
And I admire your passion.
But Cam Ward is probably there by default.
Yes, Cam Ward, the quarterback for the number 8 University of Miami Hurricanes. You're just mad because of who they beat this past weekend.
Like it was any contest.
They beat Dave's alma mater, Ball State,
Because really, Ball State is a football school?
62 to nothing.
No. Hey, they held them to under 70.
Guess what? If you'd bet Miami and gave the points, you still would have won money. I will admit Miami's schedule at the beginning of the season is never tough.
No.
And I'm kind of shocked this weekend. they're going across the state to play USF, South Florida. I think they're only favored by 17.
Yeah, USF is not a team to take lightly.
Yeah, so I'm a little worried about that's on ESPN Saturday night. I probably will watch the Bristol race instead, but I'll record Miami and USF. Your team had a nice bounce back after the embarrassment with Northern Illinois.
Yep, Notre Dame comes back and absolutely dismantles Purdue.
66-7.
Yeah. And it wasn't even that close.
But the bad news,
Notre Dame loses 2 of their offensive linemen.
well, I've got one on each side. They lost 2 starters. They lost their center, and then they lost their hybrid defensive end and linebacker for the year.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 2 offensive linemen. Maybe I misread.
Some of the reporting was really shaky on it because they said Notre Dame loses 2 linemen for the year.
Yeah.
And they didn't specify that it was 1 offense, 1 defense. Yeah.
But still, that offensive line did not need to lose another player.
Yeah. So we'll see how they hold up. Miami of Ohio this weekend.
Yeah, gotta watch out for that one.
Well, normally you wouldn't, but after Northern Illinois, you got to watch out for anybody.
Yeah. So will they have another letdown game?
And then just to go back to Miami for a second, not indirectly, I thought, now Cam Ward, I love Cam Ward. I'm already literally infatuated with Cam Ward. I will follow the man into the pros. I will root for him wherever he goes because he's the best quarterback Miami has had since Ken Dorsey over 20 years ago. But I thought, a few years ago, I thought Tyler Van Dyke was going to be the solution. He looked big, strong, drop back passer, strong arm. Yep, too many injuries. Was never consistent enough.
No.
So he got into the transfer portal. He goes up to Wisconsin. And they're like, oh, we've got our savior.
Yeah.
We've got our savior. ACL injury. He's already done for the year.
Yep. Again, one of those injury-plagued careers now.
Yep. All right. The big news that we always seem to have to talk about, it never ends now. In the current climate of college football, we've got more movement. More movement. And now the Pac-12, we knew they were going to make a move. We knew they had to make a move. But instead of doing what we said and just combining the Mountain West with the Pac-12, they've had to poach basically the best teams from the Mountain West.
Yep.
So now they are bringing Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State, and Colorado State in from the Mountain West for the 2026-2027 season. They still need to find 2 more teams.
2 more to still remain a Power 5 conference.
Right. And then if they do, they will get an automatic bid
Yes,
into
they
the
will.
12-team playoff. So that is very, very crucial
huge.
for them.
They need to get this.
Yep.
But it will start 2026 season.
Yep. Now, the Mountain West, I feel bad for the Mountain West because they are going to, I think, fall by the wayside.
I believe the Pac-12 reached out to the Mountain West about consolidating into a conference. And the Mountain West said, thanks, but no thanks. Well, guess what? You shit the bed on that decision, didn't you?
Yeah, because now Air Force is looking to jump ship, but they're not looking to join the Pac-12. They're looking to join the AAC. But now rumors say that Memphis, hot team right now, after just beating Florida State, just on the outside of the top 25, they're going to be the next target for the Pac-12.
Why not? You have to make it cross-country anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So why not expand your reach to the east?
Yep. So we'll see how this all plays out, but the Pac-12 has got to move fairly quickly here. Because they've got to give these conferences notice if they're pulling teams out. and pay penalties or whatever it might be.
And Lord knows the Pac-12 has the money to pay out all of these because they got all the money from the teams that left for the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's basically how they're able to pay the out penalties for these 4 schools coming from the Mountain West.
Yeah, and they're still going to have money to burn.
All right, looking at last week, like I said, not an overly exciting week of college football. Kansas State in one of the few ranked matchups. Number 14 at the time, Kansas State took care of business against number 20 Arizona fairly easily. We mentioned Memphis sending Florida State to 0-3.
Yeesh. DJ Ungalele is a program killer. Bench his ass. You have to move forward.
Yep. And then, again, we're just going to skip through these real quick. The one other game that jumps out at me is Indiana running up the score on UCLA. The Hoosiers. What is going on with the Hoosiers?
Every few years, they have that senior-led team that will rise and actually play dominant football. And this is one of those years.
Yeah. 40,
and this was a welcome to the Big Ten, bitches.
Yeah, 42-13. And they went on the
At
road.
UCLA.
Yeah, they went out to the West Coast and beat up on UCLA. The problem with UCLA is it was like when Adam Gase took over the Jets and had that awful, terrible press conference, and they all knew, oh God, we're screwed.
We're done.
Yeah, same thing here with Deshaun Foster. He did not instill any confidence from anybody when he took the reins at UCLA.
All he was missing were the crazy eyes.
Yeah. So, are the Hoosiers for real? We'll see once they start to play some
of the bigger boys.
Yeah, but beating UCLA on the road, that's pretty significant. All right, so we've got 12 games on this week's slate. Now, I will admit I took liberties with this one game. Thursday night, September the 19th, South Alabama at Appalachian State. The reason why I did this is South Alabama is coming off putting up one of the highest point totals in the history of college football.
Yeah, that was an offensive onslaught that they had against...
It was a small school, yeah. But Appalachian State has not looked tremendous yet this year.
They have not, but at home, Appalachian State historically has been the better team.
Yeah, we're all taking App State. I mean,
yep.
I thought I would trick somebody into going the other way, but no.
Nobody did.
Would it shock me if South Alabama keeps the momentum going?
No,
but I think
over the long term of the game,
I think it was a 1 week fluke.
Yeah,
I really do.
Ooh, this is a good top 25 matchup. Number 24, Illinois, goes to Norman to play number 22, Nebraska.
That's Friday night, the 20th.
Yep.
Matt Rule is looking like maybe he finally found a home.
Yeah, at the college level.
Back on the college level, yeah.
Bringing Nebraska up to some level of respectability again. We have Mrs. C. Jen is on Illini Island. The rest of us going with the Cornhuskers at home.
Yeah, I think the Cornhuskers, I'm not saying they're a year away. They have a really good year, maybe finish in the top 20 when the final polls come out.
Yeah.
That will help recruiting, that will help the transfer portal.
Yeah.
They'll be much better next year. Then we move on to Saturday the 21st. An SEC trash matchup is what it's looking like right now.
Oh, my God.
Two underachieving teams. Who would have thought we'd be talking about Florida and Mississippi State as bottom dwellers in the SEC?
Billy Napier has to have this win.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
By accounts, rumors out there, the Florida Boosters have the money to buy his ass out at $26 million.
Yep.
So, again, it's Aaron this time on Mississippi State Island. The rest of us think the Gators are the better team.
I thought
and
for
more
sure,
desperate.
I thought for sure you'd go with Mississippi State.
Briefly thought about it. Briefly.
But
there's,
yeah, like
there's
you said,
no
if,
talent
if
there.
Florida loses this game, yeah, they're going to buy Napier out.
Yeah.
Kansas at West Virginia, a Big 12 matchup. I told you last week, didn't I? When UNLV went into Kansas and beat them, I told you.
Skimp by a field goal.
Kansas is not. They had the one nice year. They are not a power team.
They are
They're
not.
not
They are a
on the rise.
basketball team.
They were a one-year fluke.
Yep, Kansas is a basketball team.
But Bill and Jen are going with the Jayhawks, whereas the rest of us, the 6 other panelists, are taking West Virginia.
Yep, going with the Mountaineers.
Yep.
Oh.
Interesting game.
This is a top 25 Big Ten matchup. USC going to the Big House to take on Michigan.
I'm proud of you that you remembered it's a Big Ten matchup.
See, I know what I'm doing.
Yep. That's still gonna get me all year.
Yeah, number 11 USC at number 18 Michigan. Sam is on Wolverine Island.
Yeah, that team is just not good, and I don't know if you're gonna blame Jim Harbaugh for leaving a train wreck behind, or is it just
It's
cyclical?
It's cyclical. It's was going to be the natural down because the talent is young. They don't have any veterans really there for the leadership.
Yeah, how many players from that national championship team last year are in the pros now?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, everybody but Sam taking the USC Trojans.
Who are not looking too bad.
That's a travesty because, as I recall, he got his master's degree from USC.
He did.
Who would ever do that? Who would ever turn on the team that they graduated from? That college. Their alma mater. Who would ever do that?
Hey, kettle, meet pot.
What? I don't know what you're talking about, Dave. My man, Greg Schiano, making Rutgers viable again, to a certain extent, going into Va-Tech. So This is a Big Ten ACC matchup.
It is, looking at how the teams have played so far, Schiano, being the better coach, doesn't have the talent there.
Yeah, I keep getting confused because I do get a lot of information about Rutgers from the Northeast, again, listening to a lot of New York sports radio. I have to remember that even though I love Greg Schiano as the coach of the football team, their basketball program is killing it right now.
Yeah.
So I keep hearing Rutgers is doing great in terms of recruiting and transfers, but I got to remember that's the basketball team.
Yes.
So yeah, I still think he's a little short on talent. And Va-Tech gearing up for next week's matchup against the Miami Hurricanes. And I always dread as a Hurricanes fan.
Playing the Hokies.
That game always scares me. Always scares me.
Va-Tech is one of those teams, and everybody's taken Va-Tech over the Scarlet Knights.
Fun game. Another top 25 matchup.
Oh my God.
We alluded to this one earlier with the age of the quarterbacks.
Yep.
Number 12, Utah at number 14, Oklahoma State.
Our man Gundy.
Yep. You think he's going to Gundy himself?
This is the Gundy game. There's one every year.
I don't think so. I think they have not tapped into. They've got one of the best running backs in the country. They have not tapped into his full potential yet. He is due for a monster breakout game.
It's
Cam Rising of Utah has got a messed up finger. So if he plays, Who knows how accurately he can throw the football?
I know I want Oklahoma State so bad, but I have that nagging feeling in the back of my head that this is the Gundy game.
Well, he does it every year. He does it every year.
And I looked at the rest of the schedule, and this screamed it right here.
And I'm telling you, even though it's early, we're only in week 4, this could be for the Big 12 title.
It could be. Could very well be.
Yep. So I've got Oklahoma State along with Sam and Aaron.
The rest of us are taking the Utes.
The Utes.
So I so wanted... I went back and forth on this one so many times.
That was a tough one. Very tough one.
It was hard to do, but God love him if he pulls this off. I will take the loss on this.
Yep. We're all growing mullets. We're all going to grow mullets if Oklahoma State does not Gundy themselves this weekend. Right. Dave had a wonderful mullet when he was younger. I had a wonderful mullet. We remember that feeling of putting our hands back behind our necks. Oh, the curly hair. Just wonderful. Great memories.
Yep.
Now, of course, Dave has nothing.
Nothing. Shaved head. There you go.
All right. This is deceptive. This game is very deceptive because it is a top 20 matchup.
It is.
I don't think it's going to be close.
No. This number 6 Tennessee going out to play number 15 Oklahoma. Tennessee all the way, all day.
For everybody.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Heupel has got that team rolling.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a revenge game for him, too.
Yeah, because he coached out there, and they did not give him any time to do anything.
No. And I'm shocked the point spread's only 7.
So am I. That's just crazy.
Oh, you want to talk about an ugly
game?
This
is a shit game. I was going to yell at you tonight for putting this on the slate.
That's why I put it on there.
Fucking teams that hose us every damn time we pick them.
So one of them's going to hose us, and one of them's going to come through.
Oh, my God.
Tell the kids who we're talking about here in this titanic Big Ten battle, Dave.
Iowa at Minnesota.
We're only into our 4th week, and they've already screwed us once already. Right? They've already both screwed us.
Yeah.
Minnesota, of course, lost at home to North Carolina, and then Iowa State beat Iowa. So who do you trust less? Looks like everybody...
Iowa State's got a better offense than Minnesota. Iowa's got a better defense than Minnesota.
I will say this. Now, everybody but Doug took Iowa. Doug is taking the Golden Gophers. I looked at the numbers. Minnesota's defense actually is not bad.
Really?
That worries me.
That worries
me. I think they're coming off 2 straight shutouts now. They're 2
against who?
Yeah, again, they're cupcakes. But I will begrudgingly go once again with Kirk Ferentz.
Now, which could be for the last damn time.
This could be a weekend. We could get Gundied. We could get Ferentz. Then how the mighty have fallen. Michigan State at Boston College. Who would have thought that this would be almost unanimous?
Yep. Everybody's taken Boston College except Jen. Mrs. C's taken Michigan State.
Yeah, that program has definitely, Michigan State.
Yeah.
Obviously fallen on hard times.
Well, they're a train wreck as an institution.
Right. And then Boston College has the bonus of having a professional head coach in Bill O'Brien, who's trying to use this year as a springboard to get to either a bigger program or back to the pros.
Yeah.
So he's gonna kick ass and take names this year with BC.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Oh,
this is the one you should have yelled at me about.
Baylor and Colorado. Seriously.
I like to put Colorado on the slate just so we can rip on Dion. Whining incessantly about the media and how nobody treats him or his players fairly. And I gotta watch the fucking Aflac commercials and the almond commercials
and then the damn DirecTV commercials with his fucking pigeon persona.
Yeah. It's Coach Prime.
Blah.
No, it's Coach Sanders.
Yes.
It's Coach Sanders.
Get it right, people. Don't be a sycophant.
And look at you. What have you done to me? What have you done to me?
Sam and I are taking Colorado because we think they are the better team. At home.
Whatever happened to principalities? Whatever happened?
I'm throwing it out the window for a win.
You two, you have fun. You know, going to your black mass, worshiping Deion Sanders. No, not like that. It's not a racist thing. Everybody else takes Baylor. The sane people on the panel are taking Baylor. And then finally, again, this was kind of like the very first game. I thought I would get somebody to bite. Number 13, Kansas State, going to play the Mormons, BYU.
Yep.
Nobody.
Nobody bit on BYU.
Nope. Across the board.
K-State.
For Kansas State.
So there you go.
There's our college football recap.
But wait, there's a couple of other little tidbits.
Wait.
Moving on to NIL shit.
Okay, I just want to make sure I've got some stuff at the end of the show. So
Tennessee?
Yes, wait on that. Wait on that.
Okay, for the tickets?
Yeah, that I've got that for the kids later on.
Georgia? The Governors?
No, go with that. Go with that.
So, we all know college athletes are no longer amateurs. They are paid professionals. Georgia's governor just signed an order allowing schools to pay all players. It's over. It's done. That's it.
Again, I apologize for the fact that I held Dave off on the Tennessee news because it's going to follow in lockstep with that.
This I had the 1-2 punch.
Yep. But I think the other one deserves special recognition at the end of the show.
I think it does.
Because of who it's directly going to screw.
Yes. Then we have Wake Forest bailing on the second part of the home and home series with Ole Miss. They say, oh, sorry, Lane, we're not going to play you at home next year. We're going to put Oregon State on the schedule instead. How, at this point, who is Mississippi going to get?
Yeah, I mean, they've got
the schedules are out.
They got a couple months to scrape something together. Lane Kiffin is not happy.
He is pissed.
Yeah,
and rightly so.
It was in the contract, though. Now, don't put it in the contract then that they can buy out on the second part of the home and home. I'm not excusing it. It's a chicken shit move.
There's as Lane said, it's one of those unwritten things where you don't do it.
Right.
Especially the year before.
Right.
If you want to do it before you play the first one, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But this late in the game, after it's already been played, no, not a cool move at all.
It gives Mississippi very little time.
Yeah.
Very little time.
They're going to have to get whoever they can, and that's going to hurt them next year on the strength of schedule.
Yeah. Yep. Now, it wouldn't shock me if they end up going out west with the chaos that's going on out there, and they end up
they could
grabbing
get somebody
like Wake Forest is.
Yeah.
All right. Again, I apologize. The Tennessee news will come up later because I just find it so much more egregious that it needs a little bit of special attention.
I'll still be fired up on the bullshit.
Oh, I think you and I might already have I would say that this week's selection of Red Foreman Dumbasses of the Week is stellar. Going to be very hard to pick. There are weeks when I'll admit, like the weekend edition is going to be a little weak. But this week for sports,
that's going to be a doozy.
Oh my God. Yeah, they're all deserving. Well, Dave, we just were following this game as we move on to baseball. Because it just finished up as we were recording our NFL segment earlier.
I know.
Your Chicago White Sox!
Woohoo! They had an opportunity. They were on a 3-game winning streak Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. They won a series against the A's, taking 2 of 3. They won the first game of the series against the Angels. They lost the last two against the Angels. Tonight, as we were taping following, they lost in the bottom of the 13th inning. The White Sox are now 36 and 117. 3 away from tying the record. 4 losses away from being the worst team in MLB history.
Yeah, and you know who they close the season with? Tigers.
Yep.
And the Tigers could be playing for a wild card spot.
I know.
So
Yeah,
that could be very interesting to see how that plays out over the next week, setting up for that weekend series.
Yeah, this is the Sox by the end of the weekend could be tied.
Do you know who they got this weekend?
I do not recall who they have.
All right, he's going to look that up.
But
I was going to say, hey, White Sox in one respect are doing better than the Cubs because Cubs can't beat Oakland. The Cubs just dropped 2 of 3 to the Oakland A's at Wrigley, basically decimating any faint hopes they had of getting into the wild card race. So the Cubs sit at 77 and 75, 6.5 out of the wild card as we record, 10.5 behind the Milwaukee Brewers in second place. And because of that gap, the loss to the A's today, the Brewers become the first team to clinch a division title.
Yep, their third Central title in 4 years.
Yep, so the Brewers are the first team to punch their ticket to the postseason. Some other baseball tidbits and news for you. I'm going to save the really depressing greed here for a minute or two. Let's talk about some fun stuff on the field. Number one, last night, future Hall of Famer Jose Altuve ejected in the 9th inning for taking off his shoe and his sock to try to show the umpire. The umpire said he hit a ground ball, called him out, and Altuve was insisting that he had fouled the ball off his foot, and he wanted to show him the mark on his foot.
Yeah, they allow the batters to take their batting glove off to show if they've been hit on the hand. They can move their sleeve up to show if they got hit on the arm. Why the hell wasn't he allowed to show that he fouled the ball off of his foot? This is a damn umpire being manipulative, thinking he's above the game. Didn't want to be shown up.
Does that shock you, though?
No, but it's pathetic. It is absolutely
it was a crucial
pathetic.
point in the game. Now, luckily, it did not taint the game. The Astros did end up winning it. But, yeah, it just, come on. Show a little common sense.
Yeah, it was ridiculous by this umpire.
Yep.
So, and the Sox travel out to San Diego Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, wow.
So, we could see Sunday the Sox tied at 120.
Yeah, the Padres are still playing for, technically, if the Dodgers keep shit in the bed,
they have a shot to
win the
try
division.
And rise up.
But they do want to lock in the first wild card slot.
Yes. So the Padres have a lot to play for.
Yep. Mention the Dodgers. Of course, we know that it looks like Shohei Ohtani is going to lock up the NL MVP.
For what? For what?
It looks like he's going to have a 50-50 season, which would be the first ever. I mean, I believe he's at 48 and 48 right now, which has also never been done.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to look at 50-50.
Yeah, and he's also down on the batting average, too. He's down to 287.
How many we got, Dave?
We have 8. Ohtani dropped from 13 to 16. So we're back up to 8 from 7 last week. Witt Jr. still leads. He's at 331, down from 334. Judge just jumped above Guerrero Jr. Judge is up to 323 from 320, and Guerrero dropped, or actually, Guerrero even went up from 321 to 322. So they just...
Right. And I believe Arias is
thousandth
fourth.
of a point.
I think Arias is fourth, and then after
Yeah,
that, those are the only four that I see that are locks to hit over 300.
Yeah,
the other ones
everybody
are
else
kind of
is
really
in
close.
and out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just pathetic, as we said time and time again.
Now, of course, Shohei Ohtani might, because of the Dodgers' pitching woes, injuries, might be available to pitch
In the
in the
postseason.
playoffs. That could be interesting.
Are they ramping him up during practices? Is he getting the bullpen sessions in to get that arm strength up?
Yeah. Would we even see him in a game or two towards the end of the season?
Potentially a warm-up.
Yep.
Or is that one where you send him down for a rehab stint on the pitching mound?
Yeah. I think they would probably go with the first option you mentioned, where they would kind of pseudo-secretly,
Bullpen sessions.
Just ramp him up for bullpen sessions.
Yeah.
Because they think they're so smart. We're going to keep him as a secret weapon.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, before we move on to greed, and more greed in baseball that pisses me off beyond belief, I do want to point something out, a little fun fact that I discovered this week. And I will admit I have been guilty of making this mistake arguably dozens upon dozens of times. Let's see if Dave knows this.
I know nothing.
Do you know the difference between an automatic double and a ground rule double?
The ground rule double is one that bounces up over the wall.
Incorrect. And I said, I've made this...
The automatic double is the bounce over the wall?
We've all, for the most part, been calling it wrong for years and years and decades. We should not be calling that a ground rule double. We should be calling that an automatic double. The ground rule double only comes into play like at Wrigley Field if it gets stuck in the ivy.
Or gets caught in a tarp.
Yes.
Or gets wrapped up in the netting.
Yes. Those are ground rule doubles. But if it bounces and goes over the fence...
I can see ground rule because something on the grounds limits the defense's ability to field the ball cleanly.
But now I'm admitting it. I think we...
There we go. We're all guilty of that.
We always have been calling those ground rule doubles, and if it bounces into the stands...
It's an automatic.
It's an automatic double. It is not a ground rule double.
So the grounds come into play for the ground rule.
The unique characteristics of the ballpark have to come into play. I mean, technically, you could say that if it bounces, depending on how high the fence.
The wall.
Yeah, but
some are so low out there.
Yeah. Boston comes to mind. Fenway Park, out in right field.
Yep. Or even out in Wrigley, where you've got the basket overhanging.
Yep. So, it's an automatic double. If it bounces in the field of play, fair, and then goes into the stands...
It's an automatic.
It's an automatic double. It is not a ground rule double. So stop saying it, kids. And I'm guilty. I admit it.
See, now one thing I would love to see changed is if you have a runner that's fast enough that is beyond second base when the ball goes out of play, he should be awarded third if he's already beyond the base.
The batter.
The batter.
I think that's fair.
And if the runner from first is beyond third base before it goes over, he should be awarded the run instead of having to stop.
But see, Dave, that would mean that you have to expect the powers that be in baseball to have common sense.
Yeah, I know. It'd never happen.
Speaking of which, now let's move on to greed and the stupidity of Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball. Sell out, sell out, sell out. Starting this postseason, going through the 2027 postseason. Batting helmets in the playoffs. Sorry, postseason.
Semantics.
We'll have ads on both sides of the batting helmets
Both sides, seriously?
for overseas clothier Strauss. I've seen pictures of it. It's pathetic.
How
It's
about
a
you just
sellout.
have one on the back of the helmet?
Nope, both sides. Right side, left side.
Nope. Dumb.
No team
dumb.
logo. Just Strauss.
No, team logo.
Nope,
Tiny
no,
little
Dave.
thing.
They need to make money.
Bullshit.
So you will see this ugliness in the
All right.
postseason for
If
the
they're
next 4
doing
years.
that, I want to see ticket prices come down.
You're funny. You're funny. You are a funny, funny man.
Hey, you're going to screw the teams in one way, you're going to have the money coming in. How about you kick it back to the fans?
Again, when we talk about Tennessee at the end of the show,
Yeah,
We'll-
the fans mean jack shit. Nobody cares about us.
now anybody who knows me knows I hate unions with a passion. Unions have outlived their usefulness. We needed them back in the old days to make sure working conditions were safe, but right now all they are corruption and greed. That is all they're good for.
Yeah, take Boeing, for example.
Yeah, they'll
How
get you more
how
money.
the hell are these employees expecting more money when they can't put a plane together that'll stay together?
Yeah, the union will get them more money, and then it'll take it right back in dues and fees. Well, we all know the baseball players' union sucks. It is the most powerful of all the sports unions.
It's the worst. The worst.
So instead of working with their brand new revenue stream, which of course would be gambling, they are suing 4 companies, including DraftKings and FanDuel, obviously the big boys in the room,
Yep.
for guess what, Dave? NIL usage. So if you go on DraftKings, you go on FanDuel,
Major League Baseball has the agreement in place.
for the teams, not for the players, the individual players.
Doesn't matter. The players are part of the team. The team stuff takes precedence over the individual players. Sorry, end of discussion. Done. Suck it, you little pampered bitches.
I 100% agree with you. I was thinking down the same path of logic that you were. Is that when does
It
the
is for the
employee,
betterment of the game.
when does the employee have the right to say,
You make your
can't use
money
my
on
picture.
You make your money on personal endorsements. If you want the money, go to them direct and say, "Hey, pay me X. I'll do the commercials for you."
yeah, but we're not talking about commercial. We're talking about, like, if you want to go bet on, we're talking about Shohei Ohtani. If you want to go bet on Shohei Ohtani for the MVP, and God help you, you go to FanDuel and they have a little picture of Shohei Ohtani and his name, and then say the odds are over there to the right. Nope, you got to pay.
No.
You got to pay
Nope,
the
nope,
players
nope,
union
nope, nope,
because
nope,
you,
bullshit,
you dared
bullshit.
to use his name, his image, and his likeness.
Bullshit. It's part of the Major League agreement.
See, I agree with you. I agree. There's got to be a line drawn in the sand where you say you are an employee of a Major League Baseball team, and as such, all of the ancillary things that come along with it, like the gambling sites.
Commercials for the team.
I agree. It's going way too far.
It's dumb beyond all belief. Everybody, if it gets too much, stop watching. You stop watching, it blows up, they have to start over, and then it'll be good again. Because this is not for the betterment of the fans, it's not for the benefit of the game.
All right, let's move on to NASCAR, shall we? We are into the playoffs in the Cup Series as well as Xfinity and the Truck Series, but we really care about the Cup guys. Now, Dave and I have mentioned that we were occupado on Sunday.
Yes.
So, and you will hear our full review of that concert on the weekend edition. Triple Bill, an awesome Triple Bill, taking us back to the 1990s.
It was a very good show.
So we didn't get to watch Watkins Glen. We were following it and could not figure out for the life of us.
What the hell was going on?
The playoff drivers couldn't do anything. They were getting Blaney got knocked out in lap 1.
Yeah. These, by all accounts, everybody was driving like frickin' morons. Nobody knew. There was no give and take. It was all aggression and stupidity.
So none of your playoff drivers really scored good points.
No, not at all.
As the top 10 was mostly made up of non-playoff contenders. Ross Chastain had the pole, but Chris Buescher won the race, holding off Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yep, by sheer will, by all accounts. But hey, he did it. I get Van Gisbergen got around him, and Buescher got it right back. He was not going to be denied. So,
Yep.
More power to him.
So we're 2 races into the playoffs. We have some unexpected drivers outside of the top 12 cutoff.
Looking at elimination.
Whereas the guys that I thought were easily going to get booted are now, I think, almost all of them, except for Harrison Burton,
They're
in. Yeah, Suarez is in. Cindric is in. I mean,
it's
you got Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin on the outside looking in.
Yeah, Hamlin 6 points out.
So that leads us into our picks for Saturday night.
Yep, going to Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway.
The Bass Pro Shops night race, my favorite race of the year. I know it's not what it used to be, but
it's still a damn good show.
Yep, and I am so glad that I will be home Saturday night to watch it. Dave and I, great minds, have the same pick.
We do. Denny Hamlin, on the outside looking in, needs to win or finish in the top 5. He has to dominate. He needs stage points. This is it. It's all or nothing for him.
Yeah, and of course, he has still never won a Cup championship.
No.
And he does not want to let it slip away this early after he posted another solid regular season.
Yeah.
So, of course, I agree completely with you.
He runs very well at Bristol. I was going to save him for Martinsville later on, but if this is desperation for him.
Yep.
This is where he needs to shine.
Yep, I agree completely. So Dave and I take Denny Hamlin. 2 drivers are scattered among the other 6 panelists. Now, of course, keep in mind that Jen and Doug did not qualify for the playoffs. There are only 6 of us who are still in contention for the coveted 2024 Frenzy Cup. But Kyle Larson for Sam, for Bill, and for Doug.
Yep. And Christopher Bell for Jen, Nick, and Aaron. So, good picks. None of them are as... Bell and Larson are in.
Yeah. It'd have to be an abject disaster.
Right.
They'd have to do a Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, and go out in the first lap. But, yeah.
Well, you and I always talk strategy, even though we are fierce competitors.
But we know there are other tracks.
Larson has at least 2 more tracks in the playoffs where he is dominant.
Yes. Bell has another track where he is going to excel at.
Yeah. Whereas I think you're right, the desperation of Hamlin, he will have to put up points. He will have to run extremely well here.
Yeah, he wants to win to say, yes, I'm relevant in this.
Yeah. Now, outside of NASCAR, I thought this was very interesting. Big news. In IndyCar, Alex Palou wins his 3rd IndyCar championship. But it was kind of the way that he won it that's interesting. Because the one driver who was challenging him when it came to the IndyCar Championship this year was Will Power. Will Power's seatbelt broke.
Oh!
And they had to bring him in under green flag conditions
Ooh!
and replace his seatbelt.
Ouch! That's a lapse.
Yeah, all but destroying his chances to challenge Alex Palou. So, congratulations to Alex.
Yeah, that's something you cannot screw around with at the speeds they run.
And he was very gracious, from what I heard, about saying, I do not want to win this way.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I'm not going to turn away my championship.
Right.
So.
The racing gods were on his side.
Yeah, you can't screw around with.
No.
Yeah.
That seatbelt snaps. You got to slow down, get in, and avoid any issues.
Yep. And of course, his team, Will Power's team, basically after the race, very tersely, tensely saying, we will talk with the manufacturer about this issue.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unacceptable.
Yep.
God help Simpson if it's one of theirs.
All right, just quick on basketball. Little bit of basketball. And I hate to even give this guy any kind of a mention, but of course the media loves to pat themselves on the back, pat their own asses. So it looks like ESPN is going to be looking for a new basketball insider.
Oh, whoop-de-doo.
Because the Woj is going away. Adrian Wojnarowski is retiring from ESPN.
Going to his alma mater.
He's going to take over as the Hoops GM at St. Bonaventure. That part I think is kind of cool.
That is kind of neat. That's.
But this whole, let's act like we're seeing a great journalist or a great athlete retire. Give me a break.
No,
please give me a break.
This is a page 6 under the fold.
Yeah, no big deal here, really.
No. NHL. Blackhawks today on the eve of training camp opening up name Nick Foligno as their new team captain. They did not have a team captain last year. They had a number of assistants, so first team captain since parting ways with Jonathan Toews.
Too soon for Connor Bedard?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I think it was rookie year, second year, where Toews was named captain.
Okay.
But
I
just
know it
one of those
very
leadership.
different in other sports.
Yeah.
So
it depends on the leadership shown during camp and everything. So we will see. Foligno, they just got in June from Boston, so he's a veteran who, by reports, has gelled well and earned the respect of his new teammates. So veteran leadership is something that they need.
Then, of course, big signing in the NHL. One of the all-time greats, Sidney Crosby, will stick around for another few years. He signs a 2-year, $17.4 million extension with the Penguins, which will carry through the 2026.
Yes,
2027
notice the disparity for a Hall of Fame hockey player getting an extension for multiple years under 20 million, under 18 million for the duration.
Yep. Yeah, basically under 9 million per year.
Yeah, to play 82 games.
Yeah, and he
will play the vast majority unless he gets dinged up.
Yeah, we brought that up, the disparity between hockey and the other three big team sports.
So there it is in all its glaring glory.
Yep. All right, WNBA. I have not been able to watch it. Of course, with football starting up, something has to suffer. Wrestling suffers, WNBA suffers. But lots of records being set here as the regular season winds down. The WNBA regular season, 40 games, will end up wrapping up Thursday the 19th. The playoffs start this weekend, the 22nd. But the de facto MVP, it looks like it's going to go to A'ja Wilson again. And why not with the year she has put
Oh
up
my God, those are gaudy numbers.
with one game left? She has already set the single season WNBA scoring record with 1,021 points. Yes, the first player ever in WNBA history to put up 1,000 points in a season. And I feel bad for Angel Reese because she had previously, before her injury, set the record for most rebounds in a season. But now, of course, she's out with wrist surgery.
Yep.
So A'ja Wilson actually surpassed her and has now set the record for most rebounds in a season with 451. So I don't know how you don't give her the MVP.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Yep. Now Caitlin Clark set some records of her own. She set the new single-season WNBA assist record. Again, one more game left to play. She's at 329 assists and counting.
Yep.
And then she did set the rookie scoring record with 761 points. Now, you can debate, you can argue, how much of an impact Caitlin Clark has had. But it seems to me that the WNBA is doing pretty good because they are already expanding. They are adding a 15th franchise. They're going back to Portland. Portland had a franchise for a few years, and then because they changed the ownership structure within the WNBA, I believe it went from the league owning teams to individual ownership. So Portland folded after a few years back in the early 2000s. Now, starting in 2026, Portland will get an expansion team, the 15th in the WNBA.
So sure, let's have an unbalanced.
Now they're talking they will push
Get a
for
16th.
a 16th team as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah.
All right, so wrapping up the golf season here with some news. Now I've got one here that I really could have put at the end of the show, let's put it that way, but it would have been way too easy, and it just makes me so happy. Yes, Rory McIlroy choked again. This past weekend, of course, was the Irish Open. And
Good Lord, on his home turf.
Despite the fact that on Sunday he had at one point a 4-shot lead, he somehow managed to end up second.
Oh, Rory.
There's a little teeny tiny part of my blackened heart that kind of wants him to finally come through. But then the other 99% says, no!
Suck it, bitch!
Whiny little rat-faced
That's
asshole.
karma coming back to bite you in your ass.
Yeah, because he's mouthing off, I guess, about the, is the Ryder Cup captain? I can't keep track of how many different team competitions they've got, but because he's a live golfer, I don't really know how I feel about this.
Shut up, you little baby.
Well, it's like you've always said. He's jealous.
Yeah.
He's jealous.
Because he
the
wasn't offered, or he decided not to.
Yeah. I think the kicker was when Jon Rahm left and joined Liv.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Bum, 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 bum.
now they've still got a team competition left to wrap up the season, but in terms of individual events, they are done on the Live Tour for 2024. Jon Rahm won the points title, which netted him $18 million. And then he did win the final 2024 individual event outside of Chicago. Pocket change, another $4 million for him.
Yeah, well,
And of course, this is all on top of the big fee he gets
for participating.
Yeah, from the Saudi Arabia fund. Yeah, like you said.
We're looking for sponsorships. Just saying.
Yep.
We've got no problem taking anybody's funds.
I look really good in a turban. Is that what they wear? I don't know.
No,
No,
not
that's
the
India.
full turban.
That's
Yeah, that's
India.
India.
Yeah, that's India. I don't know. They wear the headdress, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. More back surgery for Tiger Woods.
Oh, there goes next season.
Oh no, he swears he's going to come back and be competitive, Dave.
Where have we heard this story before?
Yeah, this is only his 6th back surgery in the last 10 years.
Oh my God. Just put it away. Play for fun. You are irrelevant on the PGA Tour.
Guide Charlie. Take the time to help Charlie, develop him as a golfer.
Yeah. You are done. You've been done.
And the worst part of it is I will always say, you take television time away from the golfers who are truly competitive and are actually trying to win tournaments.
Yeah.
I don't need to see your lame old ass
gimping around the course.
No, when we could be watching somebody who's actually in competition.
Yeah. Ugh.
All right, on the media front. Now, DirecTV and Disney finally settled their differences. So, DirecTV customers have got ABC and ESPN back as they've reached some kind of a carriage deal. So, I guess that's great for everybody who has DirecTV. I still think DirecTV is dying.
Yeah, it's satellite TV is about done.
The one good thing, the one smart thing they did is now they have a streaming option, kind of like a YouTube TV, which might keep them afloat. But I'm hearing...
You could go to get rid of the satellite dishes and just stream it.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that things are so bad that Dish Network and DirecTV might actually merge.
Yeah, Dish Network was always the better option. I've had both in the past.
Yeah, I had DirecTV. I wasn't a big fan, but... anything that's going to be dependent on the weather.
Yeah. And DirecTV was worse than Dish in that regard.
Now, we have got a big ruling and a big delay. So this whole massive, wonderful Venue Sports project that was going to give us all these great sports channels, ESPN, and the Warner Brothers Discovery stuff, and the Fox stuff. Well, because Fubo sued, and the judge is right now aligning with Fubo, the trial will proceed as Fubo tries to shut down Venue Sports. That project...
Conglomeration of bullshit and greed.
The trial, jury trial, will take place October the 6th of 2025. So Venue Sports will not be allowed to launch for a full year, at least, unless something happens in the meantime. So I wonder if it's just going to fall apart and go by the wayside.
We fucking told you it was a bad idea.
And of course, ESPN is going to launch. That's the thing I'm more interested in.
It's how they launch.
When they launch their own standalone service, are they going to pull their channels from all the cable providers?
Probably will.
And that will, I'm telling you, that will really hurt cable and
guess
YouTube
what?
TV and all the satellite
And
companies.
guess what? I'm not paying for ESPN streaming. Sorry, not going to happen. Because they're going to want $25 a month. Like the marquee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I won't.
Not worth it.
I won't pay $20 a month to watch the Cubs.
I'm not going to pay ESPN $20 a month. I don't watch enough ESPN to warrant it.
All right, we do not have any Clint Eastwood badasses this week. And we do not have, thankfully, any moments of silence.
Whew.
So, that will lead us right into the Red Foreman dumbasses of the week. Now, since Dave has really alluded to a couple of these already, we're going to do things like we used to do.
Yep, we're going to alternate back and forth.
Yep. So we will give you five contenders for the Clint Eastwood.
No, Red Foreman.
Yeah, these are not
dumbass
These,
of
these
the
are
week.
not cool people. These are bad people. Yes.
They're very, very, very bad.
So I will start off, and we'll alternate, and then at the end we will have to decide between the 5 dumbasses of the week. Now, I will start off with somebody who, while he hasn't been a frequent target here in the Red Foreman Dumbasses of the Week, probably deserves it. And that would be the overblown, overrated, yes, another talking head in the world of sports, Skip Bayless. Of course, Skip Bayless has no spine and is currently without a job. But he decided, I still got to keep opening my yap and say stupid shit. So he explains why he has been anti Caitlin Clark through her first year in the WNBA. He says Caitlin Clark is a, quote, right-wing symbol, unquote, and supporting her only fuels the racial division in this country.
What the fuck is he talking about?
He's not the only one who feels that way, I'm telling you. That's how sick
my
and twisted.
God.
That's how sick and twisted this
People
country
are
has become.
idiots. You know, since the pandemic, everybody's lost their fucking minds.
Yeah. Now, he's just probably the most noteworthy person to actually come out and say it.
I mean, that's just dumb beyond belief.
Yep. God forbid we have a white basketball star. Because we talked in the past about how...
First since Larry Bird to really be that upper echelon?
Well, there have been others. I mean, you've
got the European guys coming over.
Right, and we've talked about how there are many African-American players who do not like, Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic because they feel like they're invading their territory. But that's not racist, no. No, so what, the NBA should be 100% African-American?
That's racist.
Yeah. No, there are plenty of good, very, very good Hall of Fame level white female basketball players, but everybody for some reason is just latching onto this Caitlin Clark hatred, and I don't know why.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, you've had Sue Bird, you got Brianna Stewart right now, you've got Sabrina Ionescu. There are plenty of really good to great white female basketball players, and for everybody to just do like Skip Bayless and just rip into Caitlin Clark is just pathetic.
It's a stupid fucking hot take that has no business anywhere.
All right, you're up.
All right, I'm going to start off light. We'll get into the heavy one with my next one. Twins minor league catcher Derek Bender, in the final game of the season, didn't want to make the playoffs, didn't want to continue playing. So what did he do? He told the other team's hitters what pitch was coming to ensure that his team would lose and he could go home. The Twins heard this happen and outright dumped his ass. Seriously. You just got drafted. You want to play pro ball. If you don't want to play, quit. Don't destroy the integrity of the game. Don't fuck your teammates over.
Yeah, and we talked about this earlier in the week. And I said if it was an older player, and there's still no excuse for it, but if it was an older player who was in his final year.
It was Crash Davis, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and he just wanted it to be done. He was going to retire after the
Needed
season.
knee surgery.
Yeah. Playing in pain. So, yeah, something like that. I could maybe possibly a little bit understand it.
But this is his first frickin' season. Yeah. No excuse.
Yeah, unbelievable. I hope you like flipping burgers, buddy, because that looks like where you're headed. I don't know how a team could ever trust him again.
No, you can't. He's done. He is effectively killed his career.
And this is the worst thing he could do. I mean,
Yeah.
this is worse than getting pulled over for a DUI. I mean, please take it in context.
Other than betting on the game,
take it in context. I'm not saying DUI is great.
no.
But I'm saying, in terms of your career in a sport, they would forgive a DUI. They'd probably forgive a domestic assault before this.
Yeah, this is at the heart of the big no-no.
Yeah, like you said, betting would be right there with this.
Unless he put money that they would lose and contributed.
It'd be very interesting to see. I'm sure
I'm sure there's more to the story.
I'm sure sports media will be more than happy to point out when somebody picks this guy up, if
they pick
somebody
him up.
picks him up. All right. Now, I watched that Monday night game between the Eagles and the Falcons with a lot of interest because I was trying to go 3-0 with my 3 teams this week, and I had Drake London. And I didn't need a huge game out of him, but I needed about 10 points. Okay? Now, this league where I've got him is only a half-point PPR.
Oh, ouch.
So, yeah, not necessarily difficult, but not easy either. And, of course, Drake London came through at the end, caught the winning touchdown pass, put me over the top, so I was able to go 3-0, but very, very bittersweet victory for me because I had to witness this dumb fuck, Drake London, after winning the game, after scoring the winning touchdown, celebrate by acting like he was shooting a machine gun in the air.
Idiot!
Drawing
Idiot!
a 15-yard flag, moving the extra point, which they needed to take the lead. Technically, the touchdown only tied the game.
Right.
They needed the extra point, moving the extra point back to almost 50 yards. Luckily, Young Hoku got it, and the Falcons did win by 1.
You know, with all the celebrations that they allow players to get away with, it still boggles my mind when they throw the flag for celebration. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah, it's got to be something so over the top and egregious now for them to get the flag. But
so why wasn't Tariq Hill
Why?
flagged up for the handcuff thing?
You got me. You got me.
That should have been flagged.
You got me. And I can't... See, if I was Roger Goodell...
Either you will let it all go or you give them nothing. And I hate the whole choreographed team doing the row, row, row your boat bullshit.
Well, remember when they tried? They tried to stop all the celebrations, and then that's when everybody... It's the no fun league. So now you're going to let people do violent, absurd, sexist crap that's offensive? And now we'll judge, like you said, inconsistently what really gets an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Yeah, it's ridiculous what they decide to call or not call.
And I am coming more to your side on Roger Goodell. I know I've always kind of been more of a backer and a proponent of his than you. I'm starting to come over with you. Because if I was him, I would show some balls, stop worrying about playing a football game in Australia, and I would take Tyreek Hill and take Drake London aside and say, you pull this shit in my league one more time,
you're done.
You're out for 4 games minimum. I don't want to see gun violence in a touchdown celebration.
Mocking what just happened to you.
I don't want to see you mocking the police.
Because you were a dumbass getting pulled over and acted like an entitled little bitch, causing problems. It's all on him.
Yeah, but of course Goodell doesn't care about any of that anymore.
Radio silence.
He is just like Adam Silver in the NBA.
Gee.
His job is to stick his nose as far up the players' asses as he can.
Gee, maybe that executive from the Redskins was right in his assessment that all Goodell is a $50 million puppet.
Yeah. Yep. All right, you're right. Yeah, so instead of him sticking his nose up the asses of the players, they've got their hands up his. Like
that's the owners too.
Yeah.
He's getting double
Double
fisted.
Moon River.
Thanks, guys.
All right, what's up, bud?
All right, next up, we alluded to it in the NCAA discussion. The University of Tennessee, for football, have just announced to their season ticket holders that there's going to be a 15.5% increase on their tickets next year. Well, of course, they always raise tickets. 10% is a talent fee to pay the players. A talent fee being tacked on to the fans. It has to fucking stop. Once again, they don't care about the fan base. They're jacking the prices up just like the NFL, just like every other pro organization. It's fucking ridiculous. I am beyond words.
Yeah, and
this is so fucking stupid.
This is going to start for Tennessee in 2025, so next season.
And watch, everybody else is going to follow suit.
That's what I was just going to say, is that a lot of the people are saying, oh, they're getting ahead of the game. This is brilliant on their part.
No, it's bullshit for the season ticket holders.
Make the thing. So it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough that you had to go out and find a rich booster or two to pay the players. Now we're just going to fucking screw the entire fan base who might want to come see a game.
Yep.
How does that make any sense whatsoever?
This is just starting with the season ticket holders. There's individual tickets. I guarantee they're going to start adding an extra fee on for talent. Guarantee.
Yeah, this is pathetic. This is pathetic. And I'm telling you, this is just another step. I know all the sports players, we always say doom and gloom. This is another step towards the end of college sports, because we're not going to be able to watch it on ESPN because they're going to go off on their own, like you said, and charge $25 a month. You're not going to be able to go to a game because, think about it, for season tickets for a major college football program, 10% on top of the other, 4.5%, 5.5%, which was their normal increase.
Yeah.
Think about how much money that is per ticket. What, $1,000 for season tickets?
If you're lucky.
Let's just say conservatively $1,000. So they're going to tack on another $150 per person. Per person. That's unbelievable. Yeah, we're going to fuck the fans again. We didn't agree to pay the players. We didn't say it was okay to pay the players. But you're going to make us pay the price again.
Done.
Yeah, I'm with you. That one fires me up. All right. Finally. Now, this goes back almost a week. But I am not a big fan of Shannon Sharpe. I never have been.
Oh, God.
I think he's an overrated commentator. And I get tired of my favorite show always focusing. We had to play clips from him and Ocho Cinco because they're so funny. Because the guy who does the news on WFAN in the mornings is obsessed with their podcast for some reason.
They're idiots.
They are. They're absolute. You put them together, you don't even get a full brain. Well, now we have to ask the question. Now, we asked this last week on the weekend edition about John Bon Jovi, when he supposedly talked a woman off a bridge.
Yeah.
Down in Tennessee. And we said, is it possible, being the cynical bastards that we are,
that it was staged?
Yes, that he set this all up for PR. Here we go. Shannon Sharpe supposedly, accidentally, I'm using my air quotes here, accidentally streamed a sexual encounter on his Instagram page last week.
Bullshit, it was accidental. He knew damn well what he was doing.
I don't have Instagram. I don't know how Instagram Live works, but I listened to a bunch of people discuss this, and they said there's no way in holy hell. You got to push like 3 or 4 different buttons to set up Instagram Live.
Uh-huh. this was not an error.
Yeah.
It was not a mistake. It was done deliberately so he could generate interest in his fucking show.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to say something really nasty here, but she's the one that came out and said it. I don't know if you probably don't know Michelle Beadle. Years ago, she was kind of a big deal on ESPN.
Yeah, she's now his co-host on the show.
Yeah, and she's always been linked to a lot of NBA players, and I'm sorry, she comes off like she sleeps around with all these celebrity athletes, celebrities, whoever. Let's say she's open all night. All right, let's put it that way. She had to come out
and say, no, it wasn't me.
Right. Almost immediately, that was deny. It's
because you heard the name Michelle.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
I didn't see. Now, I'm not listening to Shannon Sharp's sex
tape.
tapes.
I read the thing that said,
okay.
Yes, she came out because in his thing, he was with a woman named Michelle.
Okay, I did not know that. Okay.
So that's why she came out and said, no, this was not
But
me.
she still does not have the greatest reputation in terms
she doesn't.
of keeping her legs closed. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, that boils it down to Derek Bender, Drake London, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, or the University of Tennessee.
Oh, God, this is a difficult decision this week.
I told you it was going to be tough.
This is tough on
I should have known when you already had two of them already set and ready to go that you were thinking simpatico with me is going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going. I mean, it's easy for me.
Skip Bayless?
No, I'm going with Tennessee.
Yeah, that's my number one. Tennessee is my number one because they are leading the charge and the downfall.
And even though we know damn well if Tennessee hadn't done it, somebody else would have.
And they would have been the dumbass.
But Tennessee's the first major program to do this. They get the dumbass of the week.
Absolutely in agreement 100%.
But we had 5 very worthy dumbasses this week. Sometimes sometimes we get a little weak.
This was a solid slate.
Yes.
And this is the worst of the worst.
Yep. So, that is going to wrap things up for Sports Frenzy 2.0, the Sports Edition.
On Spotify, Good Pods, our latest, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, CastBox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby!
Of course, that is iHeartRadio. Don't forget to check out the Facebook page for all of our football picks, all of our NASCAR picks, and for one final week, our baseball picks.
Yep. Saturday morning, hangover cure on all those fine platforms.
Yep, we will finally give you a review of the concert we've been alluding to all throughout this episode. That would be Stone Temple Pilots Live and Soul Asylum.
And the movie Rebel Ridge.
Yep, I've got a bonus movie review as well. Dave's got a book review.
I've got a book review.
So, and we do have 3 dumbasses to go over. And if you thought I got fired up with Dave's mentioning of the new University of Tennessee ticket policy, wait until I have to dive in to the political hypocrisy of a couple celebrities I actually kind of like.
Oh, this is going to be fun, kids.
So, until Saturday morning, which you know you're going to be there. You have to be there. You want to be there. That's your Uncle Dave.
That's your Uncle Kev.
Mr. Height, say goodnight to the kids in a very calm and gentle demeanor.
Good night to the kids in a very calm and gentle demeanor.
Isn't he the best, kids? We'll check you out this Saturday morning, if not 7 days. See ya.